Hello everyone, welcome to the Ichimoku.co daily FX market review for the trading day ending Tuesday, October 20th. Firstly to the Euro US dollar, and here we see a change of trend to the upside confirmed today, a candle making a higher high and higher low. It's done that on a white body candle, so a switch in momentum away from the sellers to the buyers. But for the second consecutive trading day, the Tenkan-sen and above trading at 113.80 at the moment has held as strong resistance. We see the large shadows on the top of both of these candles, and it suggests that there's been some strong price rejection from above that area. So that's going to be an important benchmark moving forward, 113.80 for the Tenkan-sen. To the downside, if we do see any selling, and considering that the buyers have lost commitment above that level, we have changed the trend and we've seen the buyers lose control of the market throughout the trading day, with the market closing just down below the midpoint level. It suggests that the sellers have taken a very weak form of control. So if we do see a change of trend back to the downside, we'll be looking very closely at the top of the cloud here at 113.22 to hold a support, and then just within the cloud at the Kijun-sen indicator at 112.99. To the hourly charts with the Euro US dollar, and here we saw the market open below the middle pivot point level and the Kijun-sen, finding support along the Tenkan-sen for the first quarter or first 1/3 of the trading session, then bouncing in a strong bullish manner, breaking out through the Kijun-sen on a strong bull candle, and then some strong follow through for the market to trade to the top of the Ichimoku cloud. Some decent rejection from there with a series of black body candles probing down through the bottom of the cloud to find support at the middle pivot point level. For the remainder of the day, the market traded within the Ichimoku cloud, and at the moment we see the market testing just around the top of that cloud. Now there is very strong resistance overhead with the middle pivot point level and the Kijun-sen extending up to about 113.54. But if the buyers are strong enough to breach up through there in a bullish manner, and if we see some decent follow through, we could easily see Euro US dollar trading up to the first pivot point resistance level, 113.79, and then to the second, 114.15. Breach down through the bottom of the cloud could easily see the first pivot point support level, 113.15 tested, and then even possibly 112.87. So some important trading coming up for this market. For today's trading that has completed, we saw the market attempting to transition into a bull phase by trading up to the top of the cloud but unable to breach up through there. And in light of the previous bearish price action down below the cloud, it seems as though the market is attempting to transition into a bull phase in the longer term time frame. Moving next to the US dollar Japanese yen, and here we see a continuation of the trend to the upside with some solid buying coming in here. That follows the doji type candle. There was potential for a change of trend, but with the buyers closing with control on that candle, we have seen the buyers continue with that control for today, finding some resistance around the 119.85 level, but once again still trading within this large zone of congestion, and we do need to see this market break out. A good solid build of momentum here could see a breach up through 119.85, but then we're likely to run into some very strong resistance at the bottom of the cloud at 120.26. With the hourly charts with the US dollar Japanese yen, we've seen some strong buying here, almost extending up to the third pivot point resistance level, testing through the first after finding strong support at the middle and the Kijun-sen, being rejected from there, lack of follow through, and then the buyers coming back in to breach up through that area and breaching through the second level. At the moment we're trading up above the Ichimoku cloud and the Kijun-sen and finding support around the middle pivot point level at 119.72. Possibility of the buyers continuing in this market, but they will need to breach up through the Tenkan-sen at 119.85, and if we breach up through there in a bullish manner, we could easily end up trading the first pivot point resistance level, 120.06, and if we do breach down through the Kijun-sen, we could see the first pivot point support level at 119.48 tested. Next to the loonie, which is the US dollar Canadian dollar, and here we see a trend to the upside for today's trading. A candle making a higher high and a higher low, but a black body candle forming after a fairly large white body candle, buyers in control. It suggests that momentum in net terms has shifted to the sellers away from the buyers. We've also seen the buyers lose control that they had on that candle, and it suggests that this market is set up for a potential change of trend to the downside. Support holding at the Tenkan-Sen 129.54. We should be watching that area very carefully. But for the last couple of days and prior to that, for the last week or so, except for 2 days, we saw the market trading within the Ichimoku cloud, so potentially transitioning from a strong bull phase into a bear phase. Support at the Tenkan-Sen should be watched very carefully, 129.54, but at the moment in this new session we have opened outside of the cloud and suggesting that if the market does attempt to rally, as we're seeing here, potentially strong resistance at 130.02, and if we breach down through the Tenkan-Sen 129.54 in a strong bearish manner, we could see this trend that is in the second time frame to the downside, we could see that continue down. To the Canadian dollar, Japanese yen, and the resistance area here at 92.28 has been very important over the last week or so, and prior to that for about a couple of weeks prior, except for 2 days. The market has tested up through there on several occasions and been rejected from there, and we can see the shadows on these candles here. That represents the buyers losing commitment above that level. So there is an opportunity here for the buyers if they're strong enough. We do have strong resistance there, and combined with the Tenkan-Sen trading there, 92.35, and the top of the cloud, it's unlikely that we will see the market close outside of that level. We do have a market that's potentially transitioning into a bull phase, but we want to see a breakout through the cloud with strong bullish follow through, and previously we had very strong selling in this market for the last 3 months or so. Into the Aussie dollar, Japanese yen, and very similar type of trading activity here, with the market trading within the Ichimoku cloud over the last week and a half or so, potentially transitioning into an uptrending phase. Prior to that, for 3 months, we had very strong downtrending price action down below the cloud, so a strong negative bias in this market in long-term time frame, but potential here for the buyers if they're strong enough. But with the Tenkan-Sen trading just at the top of the cloud around 87.34, the buyers are going to have to be very, very strong to breach up through there, and over the last couple of days we've seen some rejection from that area. To the Aussie dollar, US dollar, and here we see a white body candle, very small body, so a switch in net momentum from the sellers to the buyers, so there is hope for a potential upside here. But we see for the second consecutive day the market losing commitment, or the buyers losing commitment above the Tenkan-Sen indicator, the large shadow on the top, very similar to the previous day's trading. So even though we've seen a switch in net momentum between the open and the close, the buyers have failed to take control, and this suggests that there is potential for downside. If the market does come off, looking to strong support at 72.16, and then just down below there at the top of the Ichimoku cloud at 71.95. Watching the Tenkan-Sen to continue holding as resistance 72.89, but if we breach up through there in a strong bullish manner, we could see the Aussie dollar trading to higher levels and potentially up to around the 74-cent level. With the hourly charts, and here we saw the market open down below the Ichimoku cloud initially and rallying in the first half of the trading session to find very strong resistance at the first pivot point resistance level, tested on multiple occasions, and then towards the end of the testing here, around the top of the Ichimoku cloud, and we saw then very strong price rejection, some strong follow through down through the middle pivot point level, but then the formation of these indecisive small body candles suggested that we weren't going to see lower levels. At the moment, the market has opened around the bottom of the Ichimoku cloud. We are finding some strong resistance around there. If we're rejected strongly from there, the first pivot point support level could be tested easily, 72.32, then the second down at 72.06. If the buyers are strong enough, they could breach up through the top of the cloud, but they are going to have to be very strong to do that. And just up through the top of the cloud, we have the first pivot point resistance level at 72.91. To the euro, Japanese yen, and here we've seen a bullish breakout up above the Ichimoku cloud, bearing in mind that it has been above a flat part of the cloud, and often we can have false breakouts from a flat part of the cloud. So what we want to see is some strong bullish follow through to confirm the breakout, so another strong bullish candle. But I suggest that what we'd also like to see is the market testing above this 136.50, 137 level in a bullish manner. In the recent past, we have seen the market testing to that area and be strongly rejected from there. So that is a region that is going to be very important if we do see some strong buying in this market. Over the last 4 consecutive days, the area around the bottom of the Ichimoku cloud and also at the Kijun-sen indicator at 135.29 has held a strong support. So if we do see any selling coming into this market, that's an area that we should be watching for the sellers to lose commitment. The cloud becomes thin over the next few days, so there is an opportunity here for the sellers, if they're strong enough, to transition into a bear phase in the longer term time frame. But with the bullish breakout above the Tenkan-sen, and it's been roughly about a week since we've seen the market trading above the Tenkan-sen, and if we see the strong bullish follow through, we certainly could see this market continuing to trade to higher levels.